Found in the book of Exodus, we read how in 6 days the Lord created the heavens and the earth, and on the seventh day he ceased from his work and rested. Vishamru on page 36.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינף השבת Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat, Shabbat vayinafash.
There are those in our community who are in need of healing of body, mind, or spirit. If you have a loved one, a person in your life in need of healing, please feel free in just a moment to say their name aloud as we continue. Page 38, our prayer for healing, Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We offer these blessings for full healing to Ruthie Sachs, Gail Balin, Sue Beiser, Robert D'Agostino, Blanche Deutsch, and Chris Eldridge, Larry Ellens, Carol Ann Finn, and Barbara Goldberg, Deborah Goldman, Mark Groblowski, Lori Hellman, and Mike Herman, Ronnie Hess, Oliver Higbee, Jody Israel, Ray Ivry, Harriet Jaffe, Mary Sue Katz, and Herman Keek, Phil Krasnow, Judith Landau, Jason Morris, Claude Pupkin, Stephen Reese, Bruce Rogers, Bill Silvers, and B. Sklerowitz, Kelly Soslin, Dina Stempler, Merle Steyer, Alan Tenenbaum, Richard Taxman, Donna Weinstock, and Jerry Weinstock.
Misha Berach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Return to page 40 in our prayer books and rise as we continue with the Reader's Kaddish.
Yitkada ve'yitkada shemei Rabbah ve'amad divra kirtei ve'amlich malchutei
B'chayechon v'yomechon u'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael. Bagala, bagala, uvizman kari.
B'imeru.
Amen. Yesh merabah mevarach. Le'alam elameo maya. Yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach. V'par v'troma v'naseh. V'tadar v'taleh v'talal. Shemei dekudsha.
Brichu.
Le'elamin kol birchata v'shirata.
Tushbechata nechemata da'amiran bi'alma.
B'imeru.
Amen. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your glory. Page 42 at the top of the page as we continue, then silently through page 57.
Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Anana na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Anana na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Anana na 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 Adonai. Anana na 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 Svatai Tiftach. Anana na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha. Anana na 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 Adonai. Adonai Svatai Tiftach. Anana na 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 Ufi Agid. Ufi Agid Tehilatecha.
You may be seated when you've completed the Amida. We'll continue with our prayer for peace, page 56, Oseh Shalom.
Spirit of the world, make us whole again, grant us peace, grant us your peace. Spirit of the world, hear our humble prayer, grant us peace, grant us your peace. Oseh Shalom, Bimaromav, Huya tevel. Osir shalom bimromav. Huyaseh shalom. Huyaseh shalom. Osir shalom bimromav. Huyaseh shalom. Huyaseh shalom. Ve'imru, ve'imru, ve'imru. Amen.
Thank you. Well, this week's Torah portion is actually called Balak. And I say actually called that because we sing words from Balaam, which is part of this portion, and Balaam was a non-Israelite prophet. Now, when we think about the words that we sing, that the cantor leads us in, we all know the Hebrew and probably know the translation as well, where we say, Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Pretty common, but unusual that it comes from a non-Israelite prophet. And the translation, anybody remember? Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov? How? Right. How goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel. So what is so goodly about our tents? When we say it all the time, we say it in translation. Our rabbis explain this because the text does not. They say that there were 600,000 Israelite families in the wilderness, and none of their tents were opening to one another. None of them faced the opening of another. No one could look into their neighbor's tent, and everybody respected privacy of everybody else. And they say that's probably what was so goodly about their tents. Well, if you fast forward 3,000 years, we live in this society where there's little privacy, very little modesty, and certainly very little discretion. Everything that happens to us is recorded on our phones, and then it's instantly posted onto Facebook. So today seems like a need to know everybody has about everybody else, and there's just no privacy. So the windows in the Torah, the windows and these open doors to the tents, well, they're described by our rabbis, and it became a really difficult issue for all of them. In the Talmud, they argue, well, that we need to have windows. We need windows, now they explain, to see others sufficiently so we can relieve their pain. We need to have windows so we can see those that are hungry and then feed them. We need to be able to see the sick and to comfort them. And we need to see those in pain and try to alleviate some of their suffering. So we need to have openings in our tents in order to see the people in need. But we also need to show discretion. We need to know when to turn our eyes and not to look. And we need to know that when people give up their space and their privacy, well, sometimes that can be difficult. So one example that I've had is when a member becomes ill. It's a very touchy thing because sometimes they might say, Rabbi, I'm so glad you called, you lifted my spirits. And then the next call might be, Rabbi, who told you I was sick? I didn't want to bother you, and you shouldn't be bothering me. And sometimes they say, Rabbi, I've been sick for months, and this is the first time anybody called. Doesn't anybody in the congregation care? Well, when do we look in the window? When do we leave people alone? And my window blind is usually down unless one of you choose to call me and say, Ruthie's sick, and we should have known that, and I hope she gets better. Well, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov, when we think about how goodly are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel, as we gaze through this window, perhaps now we need to be, I think, a little slower in interpreting what we see through that window. In Jewish tradition and law, gossip is strongly condemned. What we see may not be the whole story. And when we look through our window, we must see our neighbor and help them if they need help, or just give them space if we want to show discretion. We're reminded, don't point out people's flaws. Why? A rabbi said, because none of us is perfect either. You have to look in the mirror first before you look outside your window. So again, when we have this Matovu and we sing it on a Saturday morning, Matovu Halecha Yaakov, it's important. Remember those 600,000 tents, and they never face the opening of another tent. Think about what you ought to see through your window. That helps another person, and then think about what you ought not to see through your window, providing privacy, and that privacy is just as goodly as the other, as it was with the Israelites 3,000 years ago. We have an amazing group of Israeli soldiers that are with us, and they'll be with us until next week. And what they go through with their sessions and their moments with counseling and with each other to talk about what has been going on in Israel, horrifying. And this is their opportunity to be out at the Molina Ranch, alone, away from everyone. And Ellie, thanks for everything you've done to bring them out, and Janet as well, for how many trips you've made out to McCoy, that your car knows exactly where to go. So tomorrow, we have a service that's out there with about 115 people. We asked for 100, but others said, tough, I'm coming anyway. And we do a service together for them. And it's kind of a closure for us and for them, and a chance to be with them. One of the challenges that we have is that when the newsletter goes out, we say, push that button and make a reservation now, because everything just seems to be sold out. And we have, I was told tonight from Seth, 147 tickets left for Violins of Hope.
So we've almost sold out the Valar. We're getting there.
So I told the Vail Symposium when we do this, I said, you book the Valar and I'll sell it out. So if you are not signed up yet, it's an amazing experience to see 8 violins rescued from the Holocaust, and the music just comes alive one more time from Colleen Deeker, who's going to be playing together with the luthier's wife. It's the kind of thing you don't get to hear often or again. So we really want you to come still buy those tickets on the 13th of August. Hard to believe it's that far down the road. But on the 15th of August, we're bringing the 8 violins here. And as we change songs, we're going to talk about whose violin this was. Unfortunately, the person died in the Holocaust, but we know whose it was. And then Colleen's going to play it, and Michelle's going to sing and lead the service. So that's on the 15th of Friday night. Should be an amazing service to come to. And we have, if you enjoyed being on the mountain, was that last week? No.
I think so.
That was just last week? Wow. Okay. 750 of your best friends came up on the mountain with us last week. And we have room for more. And we have another concert on the mountain, this time without prayer books, and it will be amazing. If you went to it last year, it's yourself and friends.
Yes, so we have some of the most sought-after contemporary Jewish musicians today are going to be joining. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Usually these are all sort of the people who are like leading the charge. So these would be the people that would be performing solo, or they would be running their own bands, and it's going to be a collaborative concert, everyone performing each other's compositions, really the people who are being flown all over the country all the time. It's really, really, really special that they're coming here to Vail to perform for us, and we do still have space available, so you can go into the newsletter and you can just RSVP for that, especially so we know how many of you were feeding for breakfast. We're having breakfast in the Grandview Room in the Lion's Head Garage. It's not like the breakfast we have at Mountaintop. It's just like a bagel bar. It's a much more casual thing. You'll just pop in and grab something to go, and then we'll all head up the gondola at 9:30, and the concert will begin at 10:15. And it's just a concert. It's not a service, no prayer books. It will all be a full hour and a half of music.
Incredible music. If you came last year, you definitely want to come back again.
Yes.
And we have some great speakers coming from American Jewish Committee. We have the CEO coming, and we have a survivor from October 7th is going to be coming. And which one? The Secure Community Network is next week, isn't it? So for those of you that look around and say, God forbid something happened in here, what do I do? They come, and it was former FBI, and they look around and they say, this is what you do, whether you're here, a grocery store, or a movie theater. They really give some amazing training as to how to do it. If you haven't had that training yet, you really should come here and tell your friends as well. And check the newsletter, because there's so much else that's coming up that's really going to be pretty spectacular between now and the high holidays. And I should mention the Dallas breakfast, because I'm from Dallas. We said, I'm not serving bagels and lox for our Dallas-sponsored Creekside service. We're going Tex-Mex. So we're going to have breakfast burritos and guacamole and all that kind of really good stuff. So it's going to be, that's one more breakfast. And in 2 weeks, we bring our animals here, which is, yeah, you bring snakes and lizards and all that kind of stuff. So we have a blessing of the animal Shabbat with 2 llamas. Thank you. I've never seen a Shabbat with llamas before, but they'll be very exciting. Well, we'll return to our prayer books, page 60. We'll join together as we rise. Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כלי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. והשב אותה אל לבביך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
At this moment in memory of our loved ones who are no longer with us, we join hands in love and remembrance. A link has been broken in the chain that bound us together, yet strong bonds of home and love hold us one to another. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith which links the generations one to another, we call to mind those whose yahrzeit we observe this month. Phyllis Abramowitz, Fred Allen, Joan Barr, Gerda Berendt, Janet Brown, Harry S. Bush, and Morris Cohen, Joe Corbin, Mark Ettinger, Pauline Azursky, Leonard Frank, Norma Leefunger, Faye Fermansky, James Gaynor, Arthur Glickman, Beryl Fine-Goldstein, and Harry Goldstein, Joseph Guss, Kenneth Hertz, Judith Ann Huckman, Eric Joss, Stuart Camber, Selma Cohn, Ida Laberitz, Norman Lanceman, George Lerner, Betty Levin, Myrna Liebman, Estelle A. Marks, Estelle Myers, and Herman Moore, Shirley Mukasey, Joe Ellen Multek, Jeremy Narenberg, Gertrude Palico, Ruth Plotnick, Pedro Prince, Edna Quarton, Max Rappaport, Regina Resnick, and Regina Sheriff, Khaja Helene Schimmel, Sally Schnapp, Neil Schur, Myrna Sigmund, Ellen Rhoda Solomon, Jay Soslin, Betty Spitzmiller, Jacqueline Steinberg, Ann Tudenger, and David Waldman, Morris Wetcher, Walter Wolf, Jody Rubel, and Jürgen Yashik. And if anyone else is observing yahrzeit this month. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found in our prayer books on page 64. Those who wish may join with us as we say, Yitzgadal v'yitzgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, v'galav izman kariv v'mramein. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'me'omaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Yidhadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha brechu. Le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran b'alma v'imramein. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imramein, oseh shalom b'imramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imramein. You may be seated. Again, thank you for joining us this evening. We always love having you back. And for those that are watching, I know they get to watch part of it. They part with you and part with what was streamed, right? We got a little bit in there.
Multicam situation tonight.
Okay, so we love having a couple hundred of you that watch from the East Coast to the West Coast, and even more so when you're here live. So thank you for being with us. We're going to conclude page 66, and we're going to join together Don Olam to the tune of...
Of levitating? Yes.
To which one?
It's amazing.
Oh.
Adon olam asher melech v'terem kol yitzir nivra le'nasa v'chefso kol. Asai melech shemoni krave acharei klichot hakol levado yimloch nora. Vehu haya vehu hoveh vehu yeh v'tifara. Vehu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshila lehachbira bli reshit b'li tachlit. Ve'lo ha'oz ve'hamisra vehu eli ve'chai gali ve'tzorchev li ve'etzara yeah 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 vehu nisi umanos li menat kosi ve'yom ekra ve'yado akid ruchi ve'eti shan ve'a'ira ve'imruchi Giviyati Adonai li below ira Adon olam Asher malach b'terem kol Yitzir nivra.
And that was to what tune?
Levitating. It's okay. 3 people in this room know what that song is. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
I'm glad it was for you. Let's rise for a closing blessing. If you'd like to hear the rest of that song in English, we go across to the Bully where she'll be performing later tonight. Adonai oz li'amo yutein, Adonai v'rechet amo v'shalom. May the Lord grant strength unto his people. Bless all peoples with peace.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei pori hagafen l'chaim.
Baruch
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon.
Shabbat shalom.
Bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam ay 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 bim bam bim 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 bam bim 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 bam.